I'm not sure which was more fun, talking to them in person or getting to hear all of their answers over again. Zero, for any of you who have never met Zero in person, he is never not like that. That is not an act. That is simply
Zero.
Who Zero is. Exactly. A lot of good answers there. We'll be posting that on YouTube a little bit later with some polishing. But I hope you enjoyed that little project of ours from PAX South. Now, of course, moving from the past to the present, we have a very special guest with us tonight. One of Smash 4's single best competitors and one of the few Smash 4 players that does not have an extensive history in Brawl. A Sheik player, a unique thing in Smash 4 to see someone playing Sheik. You can give me back for that later, James. James Makakau Tyson. James, how are you this evening?
I'm great this evening.
Thank you for that very specific for telling us. Well, James, as you know, as you probably knew when you signed up for this show, we've got a very special treat for you this evening. Every week we pick a new guest, hand it over to the folks over the R Smash Brothers subreddit. They very graciously put up a thread for us. You ask your favorite questions all week long, upvote your favorites, downvote your least favorites, and we ask them live on every Wednesday or Thursday, whenever we can get our guests on, and we get to hear their responses live on the air. James, are you ready for the best and the brightest of Reddit's most extensive questions?
I hope I'm ready.
Well, I don't think we've had a person on the show that wasn't ready, so I think you'll be fine.
That day has not come yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure eventually we'll get somebody who just walks off set. I'm not answering. But until we do, here comes our first question. Mr. Peekapal wants to know, as someone who really made their rise to fame after moving to SoCal, how important is having a good region to practice in?
I think having a good region is like one of two things that you can have to help you improve like at a really fast rate. Because prior to moving to SoCal, I lived in Hawaii, and even though I lived in Hawaii, I went to Apex 2015 and I ended up getting tied for 33rd. Really good placing for my first tournament like ever out of my own region. And even then, like March of last year, J-Tails, Ninja Link, Larry Lurr, and DK Will all came to Hawaii, and I could still like face up with them, but I wasn't at like the top. I wasn't evenly matched with them. I was like barely under, or I could beat some of them but not beat all of them. And because of that, I think having a good region in terms of like player skill is not the only good thing, because in Hawaii, I think Hawaii has some of the best mentalities when it comes to playing the game. Whenever we go to tournaments, nobody's really salty. Everybody always wants everybody to improve. You're always trying to help each other. You lose, you're like, oh, good games. Oh, maybe you did this wrong. You did this wrong. Maybe you should try to like stop getting so frustrated. Try to pay more attention to like, oh, why am I getting frustrated? What's making me like lose? What's frustrating me? And because of that, I think having a good mentality is hand in hand with being in a good region. So being in a good region is also like one of the best things you can have, but I also think having a good mentality is on that same level.
There was a lot of discussion in the comments regarding this question about specifically talking about PPMD and Armada, where they've only practiced with like both their brothers respectively, so Android and PP's brother, because they're from regions that don't have a lot of competitors. On the flip side, like how much do you think you have how much have you seen yourself improve since moving to SoCal?
I've seen myself improve a lot, mainly because I live in one of the best places to play Smash right now, the SkyHouse, the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. But not only that, like, I guess because of that, I'm surrounded by top talent a lot, and I get to go to a lot of more tournaments. But even prior to moving into the SkyHouse, I think before EVO, I was in SoCal for about a month, and the very first tournament I went to here, I ended up winning, and it was a regional, had about 80-ish people, K9S Bruce, Angbad, Rich Brown, really good SoCal hitters. And even though that was my first tournament like out of Hawaii, I still had like the skill to be in the upper tiers of SoCal's like region. So I don't know if staying in Hawaii would have like stopped my growth, or if I would have grown just as much. It's very hard to tell. But I do think me just staying in Hawaii and playing with who I did play with still helped me improve to where I am now, because that was the stepping stone. That was what I needed in order to get to the point where I could start competing with these guys.
Now, I'm curious. You talked about how you have a particular mindset down there in the Hawaiian community, and I think I've talked to a lot of people who have been down to Hawaii, and they say there's just a different culture down there, just a very different mentality about things. Do you think that living in that region and the mentality that you're talking about, where you work on getting better and work on your mindset as opposed to getting salty and getting upset about things, is that something that you think is unique just to the people that you played with, or is that something that's exclusive to Hawaii, being a sort of a special part of the United States?
I would say both, because of course I wouldn't call it exclusive to Hawaii. There are other regions that probably do have that I'm probably unaware of. A lot of regions that I've went to have had really good mentalities, and I really enjoy it there. But Hawaii, just like as a whole, even outside of Smash, it really pushes just like caring for the people around you, caring for the place that you live in. And that's not only because Hawaii is like this paradise that everybody like knows and wants to be a part of. It's just like the place you live. You want to show as much respect to the place you live and the people you live around that you would want them to like show you. So I do think Hawaii's culture plays a big part in getting that mentality, but it's not impossible to find outside of Hawaii.
So maybe the next step, obviously, is to just turn Hawaii into the next SoCal. I mean, the weather's probably better.
We just need one big YouTuber to own a house and just bring everyone to Hawaii.
Everybody to Hawaii. I don't know a lot of people that would object to being both professional video game players and living in Hawaii for their life. That sounds like a pretty good combination in my book. Coming up with our next question, Maple wants to know, do you have any plans to get your Fox up to your Sheik's level of precision?
I think it'll be really hard. Personally, I struggle with a lot of Fox's matchups since my Fox isn't really like a tournament grown Fox. My Fox I actually started playing Fox because his perfect pivot was just insane. All I wanted to do in all of my matches was perfect pivot. When I started playing Fox, all I did was perfect pivot up tilt. I had no idea how to kill people, no dare to up smash, nothing, just perfect pivot up tilts.
You just love the tech part of that.
Yeah,
I love it.
So I have been practicing my Fox a lot, but since I already have a really strong Sheik, I feel like I don't need Fox for specific matchups and doubles. I think he's a really good doubles character. But getting my Fox up to where my Sheik is, I don't think I have any plans for that, because my Fox, from what I've seen and what I've personally done, is I've used my Fox for the Fox Ditto. And I feel like I'm really good in that matchup. If my Sheik is ever not up to par, then I can just use Fox in that matchup. And I think playing Fox onto the same level as my Sheik is something really hard. I feel like I'm just not comfortable enough with Fox in comparison to, say, Larry. Larry just like knows the character in and out, and I know the character from a tech point of view, which isn't always the best point of view.
You know how to perfect pivot. You're pretty much halfway there.
So, like, you mentioned Larry, obviously. Prior to the nerfs, Larry was playing a lot of Luigi, and he obviously switched. What do you think has made Fox such a good character now, besides buffs?
I think Fox's speed, honestly, is what makes him a really good character. Like, say Sheik throws needles at like certain range, Fox would be able to punish like a little farther than most characters simply because his dash speed is really fast. And even then, Fox has really good hitboxes on like his nair, his back air. Up air is pretty disjointed. Up tilt can like 2-frame people. Those hitboxes are like ridiculous. And not only that, like his actual frame data is really good. All of his aerials have really good auto cancel frames, so you can throw them out and land with practically no lag. Fox is just overall, he's a really solid character, and there's always going to be the argument, oh, but Fox loses to shield. While that is true, Fox has the speed to, like, if he loses to shield, he grabs you, puts you off stage. Fox has stage control. It's really hard to get stage control back from a character that's that fast with really good moves. And his up tilt will just catch you at the ledge if you're not safe. So even though he'll lose to shield, he'll beat you with stage control. So that's why I think Fox is just a really good character.
Ochi in the chat wants to know if you can perfect pivot in real life. I think that's the appropriate response to that question. We'll take that.
So we saw, like, this is the final patch of Smash 4 that just came out with Bayonetta and Corrin, and we saw Falco get significant buffs, another, traditional spacey character that is very similar to Fox. Do you think we could see, Falco maybe getting some play now that he's been buffed?
I personally have a lot of trouble with Falco. I don't know if it's a lack of matchup knowledge or if it's just like Falco being pretty legit or if it's me just not respecting Falco enough. I think Falco is like pretty good. Like in Tri-State, Keitaro has been winning tournaments with Falco. I see him win every so often. And Falco has like what it takes to be a pretty good character. He has the grab combos, he has really good hitboxes. He doesn't have frame data, but now he has an even better kill move in his up smash. He has kill throws. If I'm not mistaken, up throw and back throw will kill. The only thing he kind of lacks is Fox's up B. His up B is just really, really short. And I feel like that inhibits him. But on stage, Falco's a pretty good threat.
While we're on the subject, Bayonetta came out, and a lot of people are really excited about her. Have you had a chance to test Bayonetta, and what are your thoughts?
I personally have not played Bayonetta.
Not even what? What? I'm sorry. I need a minute. They put Bayonetta in a Smash game, and you haven't played her yet.
I've actually never played any of the Bayonetta games, so I have like no relation to liking Bayonetta.
Well, there you go. That's a fair excuse. We'll keep that.
If we see you play Bayonetta at the next major tournament, we can all
go back to this moment and be like, oh my god, the mind games.
To be fair though, like a lot of people have been saying that she's pretty insanely good. Like she's supposedly like A/S tier, so like up there with Sheik and Zero Suit and Pikachu and Cloud and all the other crazy
I will
stuff.
have to use one of my 2 hours of available gameplay time every week to try her out. Going on to our next question. Kilometros wants to know, which character do you struggle most against with Sheik? Do you see Sheik potentially becoming the Fox of Smash 4?
It's hard to call Sheik the Fox of Smash 4 because Zero keeps winning with Diddy against all the Sheiks, so that's an issue. Or I mean, that's not an issue, but there's something up with that. Something's just not right about that. And even then, like at Genesis, the Buzz beat me twice. Larry beat Mr. R. Vinny lost to Exax, and I'm not sure who he lost to in losers. So, just judging on that, those are three of the best Sheiks, like I guess in the world. Will all be like top 7. But if like the best Sheiks aren't already dominating, it'll be really hard for that to begin happening, especially because the meta for a lot of other characters is starting to go up. Prime case, Rosalina and Dabuz. If you're like caught slipping, then you'll die really early. Sheik's a really light character, and when it comes to like coming back on the stage in this game, it's very easy to trap characters on the ledge. And Sheik, like if you get trapped on the ledge, it's kind of hard. Like you're not gonna do like a double jump fair and like auto cancel it immediately. You still have time to land. You can like try to run away, but it's all like reaction times. And characters like Rosalina can trap you on the ledge really well with Luma. Diddy Kong can trap you with like Banana. Cloud has limit. Ryu has up tilts. Fox has up tilt. Like there's a lot of options from a lot of characters that can make a Sheik regret messing up once in a match. And if a Sheik has to play really perfect, that's already a lot of stress on the Sheik player. So Sheik, like, there's not that much room for mistakes, even though it seems really easy, really simple. If you make a mistake at the wrong time, no matter how like minuscule it is, you can lose a match just off of that. And I think just because of that, like, I don't think Sheik will become a Fox.
Real quick, say hi to Nakat for us.
Chat seems to
Nakat.
him in the background.
Hey, Nakat. Hey. Hey.
I appreciate that. I wanted to follow up on your comment. If anybody's worried about Sheik becoming the next Fox, if our technical director could pull up the footage I'm about to put out, it should be coming out any second. You don't have to worry about Sheik becoming the next Fox because you can't do this to a Fox. VoiD, does this look familiar? Does this bring back any memories?
Let me
PTSD.
check it out right quick.
Do you
Oh
need
no.
him?
Oh no.
Oh, that is a lot of consecutive hits right there. Boy, that does not look fun.
We will say though, like the new patch notes are out, and Sheik like barely got touched. And if this truly is the last patch, like she got a weight reduction, so she's slightly lighter, and then like one hitbox change on up B. So
I mean, this isn't a game where the meta feels so top heavy with S tier characters, like Melee did. I mean, you've got Peach, Fox, maybe Falco in the S tier. Certainly, and Fox arguably double S. I don't think there's a character in Smash 4 that you could argue is double S that is so far above everybody else that you just need technical mastery to be
Old
good.
Diddy used to be, but they nerfed it.
Yeah, but they nerfed it, exactly. They
nerfed the hell
and
out
I
of him.
always love
Rip
the idea
Diddy.
of instead of balancing a game by nerfing everybody, at which point you get Brawl. Where nobody does any damage and everybody lives forever. You get a game where everybody's powerful and you could do a lot with a lot of different I mean, for goodness sake, we've seen in the top, we've seen Wario, we've seen Pac-Man, we've seen Sheik, obviously.
Pac-Man's so troll, dude.
Well, okay, but in the hands of Abadongo. And let's talk about Abadongo's villager. It wasn't Abadongo. It was
Renai?
Renai,
It was Renai. When I saw Renai's villager do things that made me hard. And I will do a lot in my spare time to try to replicate them. I don't think, and that's one of my favorite things about Smash 4 is that it's so wide open like that, because you think you've got the tier list figured out, and then Renai shows up and does and nearly takes out Zero's Sheik. With this starry-eyed murder face fucking villager. Anyway,
Japanese players got a good dude.
They're not bad. Moving on to our next question. If this is supposed to be a word, I don't know what it is. So FR87R4IN. Oh, Freight Train. Thank you to our technical director for correcting me. Freight Train wants to know, how do you think Corrin and Bayonetta will fare in competitive Smash? Have you considered using either of them competitively?
I actually think Corrin is really good. I feel like she's kind of getting underhyped because of the Bayonetta hype train. If I'm not mistaken, yesterday, Cosmic Cosmos, a Texas player, he won their weekly Shockwave with Corrin. I didn't watch it. I really want to watch it. But Corrin, while she doesn't have the best frame data, she has really, really good hitboxes. She can kill you at like 80 if you're like on the edges. She has 2 potential kill throws. What else? She has the neutral B, which like if I'm not mistaken, you can just do the barely tap it and then hold it. So you like shoot out the stun. If it hits them like really close, then you can just charge up the bite, kill people kind of early. Even then, like her up air will kill really early. It's really fast, so it's hard to always DI it correctly. Side B has a lot of mix-up potential. That move could have been a lot better. I'm kind of glad it's not. It's already difficult to deal with. The only like punishing thing about Corrin, it's really hard to land as her. You don't really have the best control over your aerial mobility, and it's really hard to recover because, I mean, her recovery is kind of linear, except that it has like intangibility on startup. Pretty much you can't touch her. It's the same thing as Sheik Vanish. So that's it'll be hard for people to get used to punishing that. And for Bayonetta, the difference there, Bayonetta has potentially the most aerial mobility out of any character in this game. She can literally fly across the map.
Yeah.
What do you make of all
ridiculous.
these zero death combo videos that we've been seeing on Smash? I mean, holy crap, dude! And ZS, and we thought ZS had a good aerial kill.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous. No, I personally haven't learned how to smash GI most of her stuff yet. It's not too difficult. I mean, it is difficult, but I'm sure once I get the hang of it, not everything will be like guaranteed. But even then, it's hard to not get hit by a move that can start up the combos. The side B, you can punish it. Like down tilt is really fast, hard to punish. Things like that. Even then, like up B out of shield is really good. You can get caught in her, oh no, I'm about to kill you at like any time of the game. It's kind of really scary. But outside of that, her nair is really good in neutral. It's very hard to punish, especially since if you hold down A for bullet time, then like it's nearly lagless, I guess, on landing. It's kind of hard. But
I think with your comments about Corrin and her bad recovery, you just triggered a slew of Little Mac players, if there are any left.
I hope the Twitch admins are not watching because CLG Matt in the background with the shirtless walk on screen. The CLG house is giving us everything.
Big thanks to Counterlogic Gaming for the terms of service violation. We owe you one.
No, about the DLC characters, I think, would it be fair to say, in your opinion, that as we ramp up to hit these next few majors that are around the corners, like Apex, DreamHack Austin, if they have Smash 4, Evo, CEO, etc., would it be fair to say that you think Cloud and Bayonetta are probably going to be the two best DLC characters from here out?
No, I don't think that's fair at all.
Really? Who do you think would be up there?
Yeah, I think. Well, there's still Ryu. Ryu still exists.
Yes.
Ryu didn't get like amazing results at Genesis, but I don't think that was a good representation of Ryu as a character. People will get used to like fighting Ryu, but I still think he's going to be a threat, especially as people get better with him. People will get better at fighting Ryu, but Ryu's moves do a lot of damage. He has a lot of really good hitboxes, kills you with true Shoryuken, kind of crazy. And I do think Corrin will be really good. I think as time goes on, people will probably get better at gimping Cloud, so it might become a lot harder to fight him. Like, if Cloud is limit camping you and you just don't approach and you just let him get limit, and then he's going to have to approach you anyway. So with that in mind, like, I think gimping Cloud is probably going to become a lot more realistic as time goes on.
See, I hear what you're saying about Ryu, but he's an old character, and we don't care about old character. We're in with the new stuff, the new tech, the new combo video. We don't care about Ryu.
I think it's monumental this last week that every Smash game is now about adaptation. None of them are about things that are going to change. So now it's just the players to figure it out. So like we saw that with PM when we did sort
of hit that moment where we're done complaining about hitboxes. We can still complain about them, but we're done saying Nintendo fixed this, and it's get good mode, isn't it?
Yeah. Basically.
I was asking him.
Oh. Yeah, actually, the meta is just going to keep changing. It's going to be difficult if you're like, you want a character to be really good, and the meta just changes and your character is just not as good as you thought they were. Mm-hmm. It's going to be kind of difficult to live with that. But even then, like, the meta will always have a chance to change, because the way like top tiers work is like, oh, is this character good? Who does this character beat? Those characters like won't be as good simply because this character wins the matchup. Who does this character like lose to? Those characters will go up because they win the matchup, which is why like I think Fox actually might go down in the tier list, because I feel like he loses to Bayonetta, And I think Bayonetta, even if she's not like a top 5 character, the fact that she'll be in the game will make Fox and a lot of other characters that can't really kill off of throws, they have to like kill off of like a raw move. I think those kinds of characters will just naturally go down in the tier list. And even then, like that's saying like the last patch. So the meta will still have a lot of ways to like evolve after this, even without patches.
That's a really interesting way. And I've actually never considered thinking about the meta like that. That these characters are good, they're good in these matchups. Therefore, these characters are now bad. I've actually never thought about it that way, and that's why I'm sitting here. And you are in the CLG house getting ready for your next tournament. Moving on to our next question. CChen9056 wants to know, how did you feel facing Zero's Diddy, DeBuzz's Rosalina, Larry's Fox, and Tyrant's Meta Knight? We'll start with Zero's Diddy. How did facing that monster feel?
So the first time I actually faced Zero's Diddy was Apex 2015. I think I was unseeded, so I ended up being in Zero's pool. We faced in winners finals of the pool. It was unreal pressure. I didn't believe that somebody could play the game faster than I could. It was kind of insane, actually. As time went on, it's become a lot more possible to beat him. It's become a lot more doable. But when it comes to facing Zero, the hardest part is always taking his second stock. As the match goes on, as he gets closer to losing, I feel like Zero just somehow starts powering up. Like he has his own aura mechanic just outside of the game. Like it's kind of very difficult.
It's like a second layer of rage mode.
Yeah, and it's just you have to be able to not be demoralized if you want to beat Zero. And the way he plays, the way he'll shut down almost every option and react to you, it's very hard to keep that mindset.
Okay, so the next one on the list is DeBuzz's Rosalina. What is it like to face DeBuzz's Rosalina?
DeBuzz's Rosalina. You have to be ready to accept the fact that you could be dead at any point in time. Like, oh, you're like jumping and he just like dares you or something, you're dead. You get up thrown and you don't think he's gonna up air you, and you get up aired, you're dead. You're on the ledge, you just give up, he forward smashes you, you're dead. You're recovering back air, you're dead. There's so many situations where he can just kill you that you have to be aware of all of them. You need a ridiculous amount of mental stamina in order to face DeBuzz. And even without that, facing him in the neutral game, he plays really calculated. Like, he'll walk up to you, he'll see what you're doing, he'll wait, he'll see what you're doing, jab, jab, wait, see what you're doing. And it's very hard to not fall into DeBuzz's conditioning tactics. Not only that, I'm sure a lot of people know about DeBuzz's pages on pages of notes on specific players and what their habits are, what they're going to do. And because of that, as soon as you get into facing DeBuzz, you either have to be like, I have none of my habits before, I'm starting on a clean slate, or I know what all of my habits are. Don't do any of your habits.
Don't play like you normally play.
VoiD, I have something to tell you. Don't play like VoiD.
Yeah, stop playing like VoiD. Play like okay. And I want to follow up with that real quick because DeBuzz is obviously a controversial figure because of the character he plays. Straight up, how do you feel like it's fair to say that his character is the predominant factor in his success, or does he just play a character that's difficult to deal with extremely well? What are your thoughts?
I don't think that success should generally be weighed on like the character someone plays. Like, there's probably a bunch of other Rosalina players, but if that were the case, where are their results? Like, why aren't they in top 8 at Genesis going to game 5 with Zero? Like, stuff like that. So because of that, you have to give DeBuzz a lot of credit for what he does. Like, he does his homework. He puts in a lot of time into not just playing, but watching the game. The the way he plays, like you can tell that it's not the character. You can feel the amount of effort that the Buzz puts into playing that character. So if the Buzz were to say put that time into another character, I'm sure he would still be just as good, maybe a little worse. Rosalina's a really good character. He picked a really good character to put his time into, and that time is yielding results. So Dabuz just like as a person in the Smash universe deserves like the spot that he's at.
I think that's a fair assessment.
He's
And
basically the hungry box of Smash 4 at this point.
that's actually a really good one because
people say
I
the
saw
same thing.
when I was at Evo last year. I watched 2 people get booed for winning. The first one was Hungry Box, and the second one was DeBuzz, and I do not envy their position. Moving on with the question: how did it feel to face Larry Lurr's Fox?
This is a matchup that I consider Larry to be like one of my rivals.
Nice.
Because at KawaiiCon 2015, which is like Hawaii's big like tournament of the year, Larry got flown down. I think I touched on this earlier, but I faced him in bracket, and out of like the top Hawaii players, we were like, oh, if the bracket goes like this way or that way, it'll depend like how top 6 goes. So my bracket, I had to fight Larry in quarters, and I was projected to fight J-Tails in semis. At this time, J-Tails was one of the top East Coast ditties, and that was the bracket that I would have needed in order to get first in the tournament. I faced Larry. I think I lost game 1, won game 2 really close, and then game 3 I just like SD'd as soon as the match started. It was so demoralizing. But ever since then, like I've always known that Larry has had probably the highest pressure Fox, probably like in this whole game. And even then, like as time has repeatedly gone on, Larry gives me no space to needle camp. As soon as the match starts, he's already running at me, and he's already just like telling me like, okay, we're gonna fight, you're not camping, this is how we're gonna play on my pacing. If you can't keep up with me, you're gonna lose. And there was actually a time frame where I didn't beat Larry for about a month, September to October of last year, maybe like early September to mid-October. And the thing that broke that curse was I Fox dittoed him at a tournament. And this Fox ditto was like, it was pretty insane. It was really hard for me to do. I had to put my soul into the game, as Tyrant would say. And because of that, I feel like I understood what it's like to play on Larry's pacing, which is ridiculously fast. In comparison to DeBuzz, who will play really slow and calculated, Larry plays fast and explosive. And if you can't keep up with it, he's honestly going to style on you, whether you want to be styled on or not. Like, there's no question.
I don't think I've ever met anybody who wanted to be styled on to that point. The last one, actually, I'm glad you brought the Tyrant. C-Chan9056 wants to know what it was like to play Tyrant's Meta Knight.
Man, Tyrant. It's always hard. A lot of the times back at home, we go back and forth. It'll either be like, oh, for this week, Tyrant's being dominant, like 55-45 in player matchup. Next week, I'll be like really dominant. But whenever it comes to tournament, we almost always go to game 5. And that's terrifying. Game 5 against a Meta Knight, oh man, you just don't want to be there. Tyrant's neutral game as a Meta Knight is not like any other, if I would say so. I watch a lot of Meta Knights. I've played a lot of Meta Knights. And Tyrant's neutral is the hardest to get around. He knows the most about Sheik, in my opinion. He doesn't do like the best against Sheiks because everybody will throw in the argument MK Leo. MK Leo beat Mr. Arvini. But Tyrant I feel like he knows the most about Smash as a game when it comes to playing. And not only that, his reaction time is ridiculous. It's pretty unmatched, if I were to say so myself. So doing like slightly risky options can end up throwing me into like losing the game. He's a really smart player, whether it seems like it or not. And no matter what, throughout like the whole game, like if he dashes up to me, I can't pick wrong or I'm practically dead. he'll abuse stage control like nobody else. He'll play neutral like nobody else. It's very hard to get through to him. And every time I win, every time I face him, I always have a lot of nerves that maybe this time like I'll body him, or maybe this time like he'll just completely shut me down.
So you live with Zero out of all the people on this list. Do you also live with Tyrant? I know you live with some of the other anime guys. Yeah, so do you get to practice against them a lot?
Yeah, we play a lot.
Nice.
Nice. That actually is a beautiful segue into our next question. Chris Box wants to know, how does Sky manage so many people in one house, and do you like it there?
I feel like managing all of us in one house is kind of a byproduct of most of us like just being friends. And of course, when I came in, I wasn't friends with anyone. I didn't know anyone. The only person I knew was Zero, and that was because he beat me at Apex. He just hit me up. He was like, "Hey, you should come hang out." So I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll come." And because of that, when I came in, I was like, "Wow, I have no idea who any of these guys are. I don't know your name. I've seen you for the past 2 days. I forgot your name 20 times." I was really bad at that. But it's not like there's a lot of like testosterone or like everybody's mad at each other. Of course, there will be like small things here and there. But overall, I think just like everybody being friends, whether it be like with everybody or with like select few, in a way, everybody's just friends with each other. We're all just, most of the time, we're trying to see everyone else succeed while trying to go for our own goals. And I really like that environment at the house. I do like living there. It's honestly a dream come true. It was just, at the time, I think it was right after Evo, and I flew back home to Hawaii, and I was like, I'm really gonna miss like playing Smash in SoCal. I'm really gonna miss playing Smash in general. Hawaii scene really small, not as much exposure in comparison to a lot of regions. So I knew if I wanted to pursue a career in esports in any way, that I would have to somehow move into the SkyHouse. And it ended up working. Around Paragon was when I came back. And after I moved in, it was kind of like, I'm not sure if I'll like it here. I'm not sure if like I'll like the people, things like that. But everything ended up working out like pretty perfectly. I like a lot of the people there. I like the location. I like the house. I actually am really good friends with the people there now. It's really nice. It's a really nice feeling just being there.
Yeah, you're in such a unique situation, I think. I mean, a lot of professional sports teams, for example, surround themselves with trainers and people who are extremely knowledgeable about the position that they play, and it feels like the SkyHouse is sort of the esports approximation of that, at least for a one-on-one game or a 1v1 game, because you can be in that environment. And Cchen9056 also has another question, wants to know, how do you lab? I mean, does that environment contribute to your lab work?
I think so, because whether or not it's like something that's leading me in the right direction in terms of labbing, like any kinds of questions, any kind of suggestions will usually help. Like even if it's something simple like, "Oh, have you ever tried shielding after a forward air?" And I'm like, "Wow, I never thought of that." Like something so simple can always be brought up to me. It's not like I'm aware of every single option. And even then, some people can see things that I can't. I'm known for being like a lab monster, so to speak. But there are people that lab better than me, and there are people that lab differently than me. I personally lab based on just like seeing things. I don't combo based on like, oh, this is gonna combo into this is gonna combo into that. Most of the time it's all just reaction, like, oh, this move hit them, this move can combo into this move, this move, this move, and this move. What option am I picking this time? And because of that, I feel like I got to that point because of how much I've labbed. Like I labbed, and all I would do is like, okay, forward throw, forward air, forward air, forward air, grab, repeat. And I would keep doing it. Oh, maybe this time I'll forward tilt. Maybe this time I'll jab. Just keep trying new things and keep reinforcing what you already know. Those are the best ways to lab.
The way you describe it, it sounds almost like SkyHouse isn't just a place for people to stay and practice. It sounds almost like I don't know, the equivalent of like a Smash dojo, like where everybody's and they're practicing. Everybody's and the white belts have to go get water for the masters. And I've got a really romantic idea, with a capital R, of what Sky's house is like. Please don't post on Twitter that I have romantic ideas about Sky's house. Moving on to our next question. Mock Windex wants to know, what do you think happened that caused you to get really good really fast?
Personally, I think I just had a good mentality. I just had a good mindset. Because if I were to play a game against somebody and I were to lose 20 times, then there's like 3 options. There's like, oh, I lost 20 times. Why do I keep losing? What's making me lose? And then like actually thinking about it, actually like going in depth onto why you lost. There's, why did I lose? I shouldn't be losing. Like being really frustrated about it. Being frustrated will just like lead into even more negativity. You won't really start thinking. You'll kind of just be more emotional, and emotions won't like always help you get better. Being passionate and being motivated is always really important, but being able to just think of things is a lot better. And then of course there's the third option, which is like, oh, I'm losing, ha ha ha. I'm having fun though. And of course, I think having fun is probably the second most important thing. Like, if you're not having fun with what you're doing, it's a lot harder to enjoy it. It's a lot harder to stay in that good mindset, keep that good mindset, and like think about like, oh, how should I be improving? Because nobody wants to really do something when they don't have fun with it, when they don't enjoy it. And keeping that mentality, I think that's what helped me improve a lot.
There's a big difference, isn't there, between getting angry about a game and being passionate about a game, isn't there? Because a lot of people seem to think that, well, if I'm getting pissed off that I'm losing, then clearly I'm going to get better. And, well, I mean, that's maybe for some people, but...
Only if you play DDD.
Only playing DDD is a life of anger. You have as many moves as any other character, and you can use 3 of them. Don't throw out a Gordo, because a strong gust of wind will throw it straight back in your face.
Oh, no. Does that gust of wind have Pharrell Williams in it though?
I don't even know how to respond to that. We are running a little bit short on time, so I want to hit a few more questions while we have the time.
Rapid fire.
We've got some great material for this next one. Neon Pastique wants to know, when is your crew GSM going to release another sick Garugamesh combo video? For those of you who aren't aware what Garugamesh is, they look vaguely like this. But Neon Pastique wants to know, your Brawl videos introduced Neon Pastique to competitive Smash way back in the day. When is another one coming out?
Well, first of all, fun fact, their combo videos actually introduced me to competitive Smash. I just happened to be like living in the same region as them, ended up reaching out to them. Really, really good decision on my part. But the next combo video is actually in the works right now, if I were to say. Like, we've been thinking about it, we stopped thinking about it, and now we're thinking about it again. So we already like contacted people to help us out to release the combo video. And even then, if I do start making content on my own, I'll probably make like GSM-esque combo videos. They'll be a lot shorter, of course, but even then, official GSM combo video will probably not take too long to be released. Will
that content feature Garugamesh?
Sometimes, yeah.
where it's appropriate, I suppose. That makes sense. We've got a novel coming at you from Tally Zora, and this is my personal favorite question. Tally Zora wants to know, what do you think of the recent 4BR tier list? Which characters do you think are underrated by the community, and which characters that aren't seen in the tournament have potential to be more represented? And last question for our generous host. What do you think of King DDD? Give me some good news, man. I need it.
So for DDD,
yes.
I actually think DDD is really underrated. I think
There
he's a
it
really
is.
underrated character.
That's
Hell
all we
yeah.
need. That's all I needed
Fist
to hear.
bump
We're
across-
done.
across the set.
Get
Tyrant.
it. There we got it.
Tyrant actually plays DDD at home. His DDD will sometimes give me a lot of trouble. It gives a lot of people a lot of trouble. Like, it's kind of like a test. His DDD and his Rob. If you can beat both of them, then like you're probably pretty good. But it's a really hard test, even for like the best of us sometimes. DDD, it's really hard to kill him. He's a floaty fast faller, if I'm not mistaken. So that combo weight is kind of unheard of. I don't know how to combo him. I cannot combo him. Just saying that, like, you can already tell. Even then, it's hard to kill him. Gordos have really good traps. If he gets one good read on you, you're dead. His recovery isn't bad in the slightest. Of course, you can still like try to gimp him, but it's not really gonna work all the time.
Pikachu, my friends.
Yeah, but he does have like atrocious matchups.
I believe you're thinking of all of them. No, he's got some good matchups, but needless to say, raising your hammer in the air for a full 10 seconds before bringing it down on your opponent's head makes you a little bit easier to read. The other question was, I think the main actual question was, what do you think of the recent 4BR tier list? Which characters do you think are underrated by the community, and which have the potential to be better?
I think let me look at this for a brief period of time. I actually put it up. I knew something like this would happen. I think Roy is underrated. I think Marth is Marth got buffs, so that makes sense as to why he's where he's at, which is like middle of G tier. I think Link is underrated. Bowser Jr., Kirby underrated. Lucas underrated. DDD underrated. Charizard underrated. Jigglypuff underrated. I actually think Lucario is kind of underrated.
Yes.
He's actually been shown to win tournaments in Japan. And if I'm not mistaken, Surge from Mexico beat MK Leo at a recent tournament. Alright, he beat MK Leo's MK, and then MK Leo had to counterpick Cloud. So that already shows Lucario can be really good.
I mean, the way what you're describing, just with all of those words you just said, is a meta that even in its final inception is completely wide open. Maybe not completely, but certainly some ground to be made up for some characters. By the way, Bowser Jr. Is my other character.
He's obnoxious.
Oh no, he's not obnoxious. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful snowflake, and I love him so.
Let it be noted that Ian plays all the obnoxious characters in Smash 4.
I can't touch Olimar. I can't touch Rosalina and Luma. And I play Ludwig when I play Bowser Jr. Ludwig's my favorite.
Do you play Mewtwo though?
I do not play Mewtwo. I love Smash because you can play cartoony characters and kick someone's ass. You know, it's not like Street Fighter where you got Akuma and you've got Evil Ryu with a hole in his chest and stuff. It is literally, I could be a dinosaur with floofy hair in a clown car and style on you for weeks, and that's the draw for me. We'll move on to another question just to make sure we get a couple more in. Cchen9056 is on fire with questions this week. Wants to know, I've seen you play Larry Lurr before and it was not pretty. Then I saw you bodying him at Genesis. How did that happen?
This probably no. Oh man. So whenever I face Larry, like there are always these matches, or maybe not even the match, like the whole set, where I'm winning. I'm winning by a landslide, and Larry just does something spontaneously explosive and ends up killing me, like out of nowhere. Like I'm winning, I'm about to kill him, and I lose. And I'm like, wait, what? Like that's not right. That's not how the match was going. Prime case being like at Genesis, I think it was game two or game 3. I comboed him really hard off the start. He was at like 90%, and then he back-aired me, fair, footstool, and I'm dead. I'm like, well, this is what it's like fighting Larry. But because of that, I tried my best to make sure that doesn't happen. A common mindset that I've heard is if you let Larry play like Larry, you lose. So you have to stop Larry from playing like Larry. You have to stop him from being that explosive, fast-paced player that he truly is.
And so how do you do that? How do you stop Larry from being, how do you make him uncomfortable?
There's either you play ridiculously like slow to match up his ridiculously fast pace, or you match his ridiculously fast pace. There's no in between, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Or you just take notes like
now,
the Buzz.
or you take notes like the Buzz. Now you too can beat Larry Lurr. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, James, for that. We got a couple more we want to get in before we run out of time. Iceman12 wants to know, how much do you think Sheik's Vanish nerfs affected her?
Not much. I don't think there's much to say on that topic. The knockback growth barely got changed. Personally, I used to try to perfectly space vanishes when it comes to down throw 50-50s. So that's going to mess with me. I'm probably going to miss sometimes. That'll be kind of frustrating. But all in all, vanish is the same move. You might see somebody live a bit longer, which may or may not make or break a set. But simply because of that doesn't mean vanish is overall a significantly worse move.
I think anytime a small change comes out in patch notes, be it Smash, Dota, League of Legends, I think anytime somebody hears that their least favorite character got a nerf, everybody thinks this 0.2% change is going to change it, right? This just solved everything. So I'm sorry to all of you out there who were hoping for a better prognosis. Peppermint 1201 wants to know, how important is perfect pivoting?
It's not. That's the best and the worst part. Where the meta is right now, perfect pivoting is not important at all. You can get away without perfect pivoting. Every player has shown it. It's cool. It helps me have a lot of fun. I think if I somehow become 100% accurate with it, then it'll probably start shaping the meta. When it comes to neutral game, if you throw out a move and you perfect pivot right after, you mess with the spacing of your opponent. Me and Zero were actually doing that for a very brief period during our match at PAX. And if he were to go in for a dash grab, I would perfect pivot away. Or if I were to go in for a dash grab, he would perfect pivot away. So none of us could really commit onto each other because of the fear that a perfect pivot may or may not happen. So perfect pivoting where the meta is right now, perfect pivoting is not important. You do not have to do it. You can literally just forget it exists. But maybe in 6 months to a year, very wide time range, it could become very important for very few characters, whoever actually benefits from the perfect pivot length.
As the ephemeral and ubiquitous they say, it's better to know it and not need it than to not have it and need it.
I agree.
The story of a Smash player's life.
I mean, look what it did. Look what it did for Armada when he picked up Fox. It's better to have Peach in the back pocket, but also pick up Fox, than to not have a Fox and need it badly. We'll end with what's probably my favorite question of the bunch so far. Full Gifted wants to know. This is your time to shine. Your French fries tier list.
Let me think.
I literally thought that your camera froze.
Just pure silence.
Beautiful delivery.
Recently I had Burger King fries, for the first time in a very long time. They seemed pretty good. They weren't that bad. McDonald's fries are pretty top tier. They might be top three guaranteed.
You know the secret, right, to McDonald's fries? Apparently they fry them in chicken oil. Did I just blow your mind?
No, I'm confused. I didn't know chicken oil was a thing.
Well, it's not okay. I can see the YouTube comments now. It's not chicken. They fry them in the same way that they fry their chicken nuggets, apparently.
Oh,
and whatever flavor they use there, that's what I've heard. I don't have a guy on the inside of McDonald's. It's just what I've heard. Apparently, that's part of it.
I will say with some Chick-fil-A sauce, Chick-fil-A fries are pretty pretty banging.
Is Chick-fil-A on the list?
I don't like Chick-fil-A fries. Personally. Oh no, wait. I was thinking of something else. I like Chick-fil-A. No. I still don't like Chick-fil-A fries.
You've been 100% sure of everything you've said tonight, and then we dropped this question.
Mind blown. If you're out here for DreamHack, we need to bring you in studio and just get a wide array of fries and just fry tasting.
That
with
could
VoiD.
make a good video. If you end up, if there's Smash 4 at DreamHack and you end up here, feel free to come by the studio and we'll do
we'll do a fry
the
test.
VoiD fry taste, the blind taste test. Well, that's gonna do it for us, James. Before we close up shop, do you have any closing words, any shout outs, anything you want to get off your chest to the fine viewers at home?
Shout outs to 2G Gaming for being my sponsor, doing a lot for the SoCal community. If it weren't for them, I don't think SoCal would have as much exposure or as much tournaments as they do now. Shoutouts to the COG place for letting me use their computer. I own no computer at all, so I was actually petrified when it came out. I was like, oh, I kind of need a computer with a webcam and a headset. This could be bad.
Shout outs to Nakat for
and his socks
and his socks for letting you use his room. We appreciate that as much as anybody. Anything else?
Shout outs to Anti for popularizing the French fries and water. Those were really good, by the way. If you go to that steak place, it was at the Grand Hyatt, if I'm not mistaken. The Grand Hyatt in San Antonio. There's a underground place that sells like really expensive steaks, but then they sell fries for like $11. Everybody else is gonna spend like $20 to $30, and then you just get the fries. That's about it.
Blowed
they
your
have
mind with
really
French
good
fries.
steak, but get the French fries. Well, thanks for the pro tip, good sir. We appreciate you having you on the show. We hope to have you back another time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Which camera am I fucking looking at? Well, that's going to do it for us this evening. We'll be back next week with another illustrious Smash guest. Now our technical director's just fucking with me. Thank you, Will, for the smooth outro. Yeah, this is easily our best outro. Thank you to everybody that watched tonight. We'll be back next week with another Smash guest. We'll have the thread up on Monday. You'll be able to put in your favorite questions. If you enjoyed tonight's show, go ahead and hit that follow button down below the player. Also, if you see that shiny new subscribe button, for $4.99 a month, you can feed the Hungry Daily Dot employees, and we appreciate that.
We will have emotes.
We'll have enough money to go down to San Antonio and get some world-class fries.
We will have emotes coming soon.
We will have emotes coming up soon. They're
progress.
coming very soon. We can't say what they are yet, but we're very excited about.
I'm very proud.
What we'll be contributing to the world of Twitch memes. If you want to check out the VOD after the fact, go ahead and check us out on youtube.com/daily.esports, over on Facebook, daily.esports, and on Twitter @.esports. I have been Ian Double John Barker. He has been Jacob Braille Wolf, and we will see you next time.